Hello, Americans. I'm Paul Harvey. You know what the news is. In a minute, you're going to hear the rest of the story. Now, the rest of the story. The land was a potter's field once upon a time, place where New York City unceremoniously interred her unclaimed dead. Then in the 19th century, that cemetery, for the anonymous, was graded and planted to become fashionable Washington Square Park. And after generations had passed, few even recalled its grim history. But death returned to Washington Square one fine spring day, March 25, 1911. And Fanny Coralie was there. She had been visiting friends who lived nearby when she heard the fire engines and ran to see what was going on. A crowd was already gathering in the street outside a 10-story building on Washington Place. Smoke was pouring from an 8th-floor window. "What's up there, Fanny?" asked a gawking bystander. It was the Triangle Shirtwaist Company, she was told. Floors 8, 9, and 10, a factory that made women's blouses, employed hundreds, mostly young girls. Indeed, for in those windows high above the pavement, there soon appeared the anxious faces of those girls. "Why are they just standing there?" Fanny asked, and somebody answered that they were probably trapped between the fire and the top floor because the factory owner had locked the exits to the roof. That's right. Fearing factory workers might carry blouses to the roof and drop them to accomplices in the street, the owner had sealed off the only escape route for his hapless laborers in the event of a fire. And then Fanny, gazing breathlessly upward, saw what seemed a bale of fabric being hurled from one of the windows. "They're trying to save some of the best cloth," somebody observed, but halfway down the bundle opened, revealing that it was not a bundle at all. It was the body of a girl. Others were jumping now. The worker girls, some alone, others embracing in pairs, a few interlocking arms in groups of 3 or 4, all chased to the ledges by licking flames, choosing death in a fall over burning alive. In all, 146 perished either way that bright Saturday afternoon, and something else quite remarkable occurred. That day, Fanny Coralie's interest in public service became a passion, focused on the safety and the dignity of her nation's working men and women. For shortly thereafter, the 28-year-old secretary of the New York Consumers League resigned her position and instead joined the Committee on Safety of the City of New York and became Director of Investigations for the New York State Factory Commission. And the rest is shouted from the pages of American history. For in 1933 was appointed the first woman ever to serve in a cabinet of the President of the United States, a position held a dozen years until the death of Franklin Roosevelt in 1945 by a distinguished labor secretary christened Fanny Coralie Perkins. Oh yes, you remember her better by the name that she later chose, Frances Perkins. And it's said that that shining human sword, which battled for the many causes of laborers everywhere, was forged in the flames of a factory fire near New York's Washington Square. And that is so. And now you know the rest of the story.